Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Rotary Unplugged. I'm Craig Clark, one of your hosts, along with producer J.R. Muller. We welcome you to another episode where we get to know a fellow Rotarian, perhaps somebody you've sat next to or seen, but maybe haven't had a chance to learn their story. We've done about a dozen of these now, and we always uncover some interesting stories. And I expect today will not be an exception. We have a master storyteller with us today, longtime Rotarian, former Rotary GR president, and also, and we'll talk about this, a former district governor, Mr. Lody Zwarensteyn. Welcome, Lody.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, are you in Canada right now, or are you just rooting for Canada?
I'm just rooting for them. Our district of Rotary covers Michigan and Northern Ontario, and I've gotten to have so many friends in Canada. I feel
Hmm.
like celebrating them.
Oh, that's good for you. See, you're already into storytelling, I tell you. Well, we're going to talk a lot about your Rotary story, Lodi, but for those people that maybe haven't had the pleasure of getting to know you, we can talk a little bit about yourself first. So, by the last name Zwarenstein, I'm assuming that's not Spanish.
No, I was born in the Netherlands quite a few years ago. Had the distinction in my family of being the very first child born in a hospital in the Netherlands.
Oh, really?
And my grandfather, who was a physician, delivered me. At the time, it was kind of cute. Our family lived in Brussels, in Belgium, but
Belgium.
when my mother was due to deliver, she had to hustle back to the Netherlands real quick so I could be born purebred. They really didn't want a Belgie for a baby. It should be a Dutchman.
Hey, I want to take care of a technical issue before we get going. Can you maybe move your mic up a little bit off the beard?
Sure. How's that?
There we go. There's the Lodi voice I want to hear. So you were the first. How many siblings do you have? For those of us that know your brother John, a fellow Rotarian, but
Yeah,
the
I
others.
had, well, there were five in all. One died in infancy. I have an older sister who passed away a couple of years ago. My older brother, John, is a Rotarian. My younger brother, Jim, is a former band director for the Sparta High School, but he's also someone who served in the Michigan National Guard for 5 decades.
Wow.
A long, long time.
So, and forgive me, you might have said this, but were you all born in the Netherlands?
All but my youngest brother, Jim. He's our anchor baby. When we were in the States, he was born here. We'd already moved to the States, but the rest were all born in the Netherlands.
And help me understand, you say you were the first to be delivered in a hospital. Why
Correct. All the others were delivered at home by
at
my
home?
grandfather.
Handy grandfather to have around, it sounds like, that's for sure.
Handy. Always, if you have a doctor in the family, lean on him.
Get your money's worth. So, when did you move to Grand Rapids or the United States? I guess we'll start with there.
It was 1950 when we came to Grand Rapids,
Okay.
and been here on and off ever since. Back to the Netherlands a little bit, but most of the time here. So I consider myself a Grand Rapidian, having grown up here.
Yeah, for sure. What brought the family to Grand Rapids?
Couple of things. My father had at the time three different jobs, all of which required travel in the United States. He worked for the Dutch Chamber of Commerce to stimulate North American trade. He worked for the Holland America Fisheries to stimulate North American trade, as well as the Verkada Cookie Company to stimulate trade. He had to be in the States, so rather than going back and forth with a very long flight at the time,
Hmm.
it would have been easier to stay in the States. So he
Yeah.
relocated here. I didn't have a vote at the time. I was a little bit too young, but came here and stayed here.
And I know you from our healthcare days. You were, I don't remember the title, but leader of Alliance for Health. Tell us a little bit about your career in Grand Rapids. Where did you hang your hat there for years?
Well, when I was in college, I had actually intended to be a teacher, and I taught for a couple of years after college. But then Moved over. I had my graduate degree in medical geography. I thought it would be appropriate to look up something in the healthcare line, and I went to what is now or what was the Alliance for Health.
Hmm.
Was there for 42 years, became
Wow.
president of the organization, never found a better job. Um, Enjoyed what I was doing all along, and then I retired in 2014, and unfortunately, the agency died very soon thereafter. But I had a good run.
Sure did. Now, so you're retired, but looking in the background of your office, that doesn't look like an office of a retired person. So you're not sitting around doing crosswords all day.
No, I managed to stay in contact with a lot of the things I love. Rotary being one of the top things, Michigan State University being another.
Right, go green.
Go green all the way. I kind of have fun with that because I was chairman of the National Alumni Association for state. And fortunately, in the year I was chair, we went to the Rose Bowl, and the university asked the Alumni Association, rather than the athletic department, to plan the Rose Bowl trip. So I
Wow.
put on my planner hat, and we organized probably the greatest move. We were told that there were over 60,000 people who came as part of our tour package.
Wow.
Largest land move in US history for any event. 60,000 people.
60,000?
It was really cool. And we organized all the alumni clubs in Southern California. When we got off the plane, the local alumni lined the freeways with their green jackets and green MSU flags, so we were escorted all the way to our hospital, or
That's awesome.
hospital hotel, I should
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Could
What
have
was
been
that,
a hospital.
87, 88?
Yeah, 88.
Yeah.
It was just a wonderful, wonderful time all the way around. But MSU holds a soft spot in my heart, as does Rotary. Those are the things that I really, really try to stay on top of.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Rotary. You're giving us a bunch of interesting facts. One of that was you joined as a junior Rotarian in
Heck,
63 while you're at Union High School. And I'm not good at math, but you must be a little older than 50 years old at this point.
yeah, two or three more. Yeah,
How did you get involved? What was the connection to
at
junior Rotary at that
at
point?
the time, Rotary asked the high school counselors to suggest students who were super involved in all aspects of the community. They wanted people who represented the values of Rotary. And Rotary is an organization that believes in giving to one's community. We've all been blessed,
Yeah.
and we all, as Rotarians, want to return those blessings to pay it forward. And so the school counselors recommended the two students in the school they felt best embodied those values of Rotary. And I was fortunate to be one of those. It
That,
was it was a pleasure.
yeah. That is a, so you've been a member of Rotary since you were in high
Since
school?
after I got out of college, we stayed in contact, obviously, and uh, I'm sorry. Over the period of my working life, I had to spend a lot of time on the job, but as
Yeah.
soon as time became available, went back and amped up my Rotary career. I was kind of fortunate. I became a district governor. At the time, I was still working. Uh, and one of the jobs of the governor is to visit all clubs in the district, and that includes those in Northern Ontario. I was very, very fortunate that I had a laptop computer. My wife would drive, I would sit in the back seat working away. So I was able to stay productive relatively through all that time of working while being a governor.
And so help us understand the district. So our Rotary Club, that would just be one club within the district. Do you know how many clubs are in the district?
Well, in my time, there were 60. There are 57 now. A couple of
Okay.
them, unfortunately, with COVID,
Oh,
weren't able to sustain it through that period. But there's close to 60 clubs. The farthest south our district is Grand Rapids and Holland. Moves up north through Michigan, through the Upper Peninsula, crosses over into Canada at the Sioux, and then moves all the way up to Wawa. Um, it's a wonderful district, and the nice thing you learn about Rotary and Rotary clubs is when you've seen a Rotary club, you've seen one Rotary club. They're all different.
really?
They all have a unique personality. And the fun thing is, if you are a Rotarian and you visit a club, they will welcome you just like any member of their club. The welcome mat is there, and you really do feel at home, no matter if it's 7 people meeting
Yeah,
in Bel Air, or 200 in Grand Rapids, or 200 in Muskegon, Traverse.
right.
Doesn't matter. They're all different, but they're all welcoming.
Yeah. Boy, you've seen a lot. Help us. What years were those when you were the district
I
governor?
was the district governor in 2012,
Okay.
13.
And you were also president of our club, weren't
President
you?
of the Grand Rapids Club 2005 and 6, which was real close to the centennial of Rotary. So,
Oh,
fortunately, Rotary has an international convention every year. And the centennial convention, when I was president, went down to was in Chicago, where Rotary was born.
mhm.
And it was just a fantastic convention. You learn a lot about Rotary. You meet a lot of people that become lifelong friends, and you see some class entertainment that you can't beat anywhere. I remember the Fifth Dimension coming out into the audience
Right on.
where we
Oh,
were. Uh, just a great, great time all together.
yeah. And the district governor, that's a 1-year term as well.
1 year term, although in Rotary, just about everything has a 3 year cycle. You get a couple of years of training
Okay.
in advance, then you are the governor, and then after that, you're expected to be on call for anything that's needed thereafter.
Yeah, and I'm sure you still get called for little
Oh, once in a
historical
while.
perspective. Yeah. So you've another thing you mentioned, you've been on just about every committee to exist in the club, is that right?
Amen. Everything from our invocation committee to our program committee to our committee for world community service, to our foundation, you name it. Uh, we've cycled through it. We have
Yeah.
committees in Rotary that deal with our local community. We have committees that deal with some national areas, and we have international focused committees. And, I always advise a new Rotarian, and sometime in your Rotary career, move through the different committees because you will learn a lot
True.
about so much. And we have in Grand Rapids 29 different committees
Yeah.
dealing with just about everything from greeting people when they come into a meeting to saying an invocation to, planning ramp builds for handicapped people in
Right.
their homes.
There really is something for everybody.
There
That's
is something all the way. And interestingly, when you rotate through it, you find your interests generally are pretty broad, and the opportunities that Rotary gives you to give back to your community. We've all been blessed, and we feel a little guilty. I mean,
yeah.
it's sad to say, but we feel a little guilty for the pleasures we have in life. So service is one of the ways we pay it back.
Yeah. So I did the math. 62 years
Yeah.
you've been involved with Rotary. Obviously a lot of changes. Hard to probably summarize in a few sentences, but what's changed with Rotary over the years? What have you seen?
Well, the biggest thing and the most heartening thing occurred in mid 1980s when Rotary got off its old stance and started admitting women.
Okay.
Before that, it was men only.
Mm.
And unfortunately, the image of Rotary was one of very old men. In fact, the joke was, Rotary is a club of old men and their fathers. Uh, but women were allowed in, and Grand Rapids and all of the clubs in our area embraced them very fully. We've had many women presidents, women
Hmm.
committee chairs, women, constitute a good percentage of the clubs. That alone has pumped just so much life into Rotary.
Yeah,
You can't imagine how much change that brought. A lot of energy with hands-on projects and so on.
yeah.
Rotary has become much more diverse over the years.
Hmm.
Uh, Again, it used to be stiff old men who were very successful in business. It now represents the whole community, all races, obviously sex.
Right.
Put it all together, and Rotary has adapted as our people have adapted, and that's been just so much fun. Um, no stodginess, it's just down to earth.
Yeah, that's always a trait of a successful organization, right? They've been able to adapt while maintaining their kind of ties to their mission and their cause.
Yep.
I've been receiving as a fairly new member. I'm still intrigued with the Rotary magazine. Forgive me, I don't recall the name of it, but just as you said, just so much involvement. When I started in Grand Rapids, I knew of Rotary and Lions and all the others, and I thought they were just lunch clubs. You go, you have lunch, right? But now you read these magazines or you go to the website, and just the involvement in our communities globally.
Well,
And by being a member, you have an opportunity to serve. I think we're recording this in February, and in a recent meeting, Michael Seitzma had talked about the water filters and an opportunity to go to that. I mean, things that I think a lot of people, even when they join Rotary, perhaps don't even know that's possible, right?
when you find out things like 30,000 children die every day around the world from waterborne diseases that can be taken care of. We
Yeah,
know how to do it. It's
right.
not rocket science. It's just we need to do things. So we've been very much dedicated to clean water.
Yeah,
I mentioned that it's very important to serve in different committees because you do get a much better feel for Rotary here and around the world. And I can't tell you how much I owe Rotary.
mm,
Through Rotary, I've been able to go to Rotary meetings around the country, New Orleans, Sedona, Branson, Missouri, uh, all around here in Canada, Wawa, in the Netherlands, several clubs, in Portugal, clubs, in
wow,
Switzerland. I've been to Rotary meetings in Indonesia and Thailand, and
wow.
they're all focused on service. The international projects get to things like polio's main cause has been to eliminate polio in the world,
Yeah,
and we're almost there. It's just endemic in a couple countries, and even then, it's been swatted down a lot.
yeah,
But until we totally eliminate it, we're only one plane trip away from having it reintroduced
yeah, I
because our
know.
immunization levels have dropped. Immunization works, and Rotarians have gone all over the world to immunize children against a very dreaded disease. We just want to see it eliminated. We've been dedicated to clean water.
Yeah,
Rotarians have put water filters, community wells, and so on. And part of that too is sanitation projects to put restrooms. Wherever we're doing water projects, we'll match it with a sanitation project because that's how you improve the health of the people. We have programs going against slavery worldwide, and you name it, there are Rotarians doing something.
well,
And when we have our international meetings, we learn about all the different projects in different areas, and we have the opportunity to bring those ideas back with us
yeah,
and join in
mhm,
because Rotary works on a club to club principle. We don't throw money at projects. We will raise money and supplies, but we'll channel them to a club in the area that needs them. They're the people with feet
mm,
on the ground, and they can distribute a lot better than we could.
yeah.
So it becomes a club to club project.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. What do you say, are we on a good trajectory here with Brody? Are you? with the future of Rotary? Are you excited to see what the next 62 years look like?
I think it's nothing but upward. We've had obviously a very, very good youthful direction in
Yeah,
Rotary. It's not just old people. We've had women taking leadership roles. We have racial minorities throughout. So we are representative of our communities. I keep telling people Rotary is one big democracy. And, if you have a good idea, share it. And if
yeah,
51% of the people agree with you, that's what you're going to do.
off and
And,
running.
and that's how we decide what it is we do. And we all have ideas for giving back to our communities and our world. And all we have to do is sell them within our club. 51% of the people agreeing to it, we've got projects going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to see the enthusiasm and the creativity, innovation, right, of members. And
Exactly.
but also, as you said, it's great to see diversity, and especially with age, younger, but also to have the historians, the legacy members such as yourself that are still active, that can give perspective and obviously wisdom. I think to me is still a fairly new member. That's a sign of a good mix. You've
There,
got all the generations and continuity, honoring legacy, but also opening up to new ideas and new things. So
exactly. And all the old farts are totally willing, to abandon old things that are too tired and adopt new. Although we do remind people of what some of the traditions are, because some of them are very
yeah,
good.
sure.
But in my day, let's go back to the 1960s when I first started as a junior Rotarian. I could never in the world have imagined Rotarians putting on waders, getting in the Grand River, and hauling
Right,
out garbage.
right.
We do that every year now. Things change, projects change, outlooks change, and that's wonderful.
But that dedication to service continues,
It's
right?
always there.
Yeah. Well, we as an organization are lucky to have you for 62 years, and I don't know if 62 more are in the future, but we'll take as
We
many
hope.
as Lody around. But we do appreciate you spending time with us, Lodi, and it's just been a pleasure. I've had the pleasure of knowing you forever, and I've always enjoyed when I go to Rotary luncheons to find somebody new and maybe somebody a little on the older side to kind of get some of that history. And we're glad that you can spend time on this podcast to share with us, and maybe we'll get some other old farts, as you say, to share their stories and wisdom with us on the podcast as
Well,
well.
don't
So,
sell the old fart short, because
no
one of
way.
my greatest joys is to introduce new people to Rotary, and I've sponsored many, many new people, and that's part of the pleasure of Rotary. One of the privileges you get is the ability to introduce new people to Rotary,
Yeah.
and Rotary grows with every new person.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we do appreciate your time, JR. Have you been in the organization for 62 years? I can't remember how old you
No,
are.
I haven't, but I am third
Actually,
generation.
JR's
Yes,
relatives have, and I've
true.
known
Yeah,
them all
That's
along,
the
and they've
secret.
been
You'll
family.
get a
great.
podcast on me at some point, but yes, my grandfather and my uncle were involved, and so that's how it came back around to me. So, but I agree. A lot of young blood in Rotary, a lot of older blood in Rotary. I think that's a great mix. You get a lot of
Yeah.
wisdom, you get a lot of youth. It's a good match all the way around. Anyhow, you guys appreciate your time today. So definitely check out this podcast and others at the grrotary.org website, or you can actually just type it into the Apple podcast application. Just type in GR Rotary Unplugged. And we'll see you again next time. Have an awesome day.